How you doing?
Good.
All right, come on in. What are we having to drink?
Have some beers.
Beers?
Yeah.
Mr. Rubin? Do you remember the time at McKenna when you realized that, like, this wasn't what you wanted to do for your whole life? Or was it obvious before you got there that, like, this was a stop on the road?
No, I think before I got there, I didn't know anything. I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know what I didn't like. I was looking for a job with people that I thought I could learn from. But all these, I have a friend who in second grade, he was asked to do an assignment of what he wanted to be when he grew up. And he still has it. And he said investment banker. And he still has the sheet. You know this friend?
Still a friend?
Yes, you know this friend. No, you know this friend. And I don't feel like I ever really had that. I knew I wanted to build something at some point myself, but definitely wasn't mature enough or had the right idea or knew the right industry at 22 when graduating. And so I thought this is a great spot to learn and to grow and to sort of figure out what's next. I knew they had a pipeline to a lot of people went there for 4 years, then went to business school when they had a better idea of what they wanted their real career to be. So that was sort of it was that simple. I didn't put that much thought into it. Yeah.
How did you land on kids snacks as a category?
So didn't necessarily start on the kids front. So I was playing around with a bunch of different ideas. Then one of my classmates introduced me to my co-founder, Beth. And my classmate had worked for Beth's husband and basically said, hey, my old boss's wife is working on a healthy food idea too. You guys should have a coffee and meet and see what happens. More of just like trading notes than necessarily working together. And so grabbed a coffee with Beth and her husband, Brooke, and hit it off completely. Could just tell they were great people.
Yeah.
Beth and I had very, very similar passions, similar visions, very different skill sets. And 6 weeks later, which in retrospect, bad idea, but it worked out for us. 6 weeks later, we decided to co-found the business together and start building it.
Wow.
And we still talk every day, 6.5 years later.
What I find interesting about what you and Beth have done with this business is a lot of it, especially now, so much of the direct consumer brand world is founder forward, founder story, pushing that out on social.
Yeah.
That hasn't been your strategy from a content perspective.
Yeah.
Was that intentional? Is that a happy accident?
No, I don't think either of those things. I think it's I think there's brands that do it well and I really admire how they do it. I don't think it's either of our skill set. I don't think we're good at that.
Yeah.
Right. But I think the brands that do it do such a good job of building this tribe and this community and sharing stuff with sneak peeks on Facebook and behind the scenes looks on Instagram. And it wasn't even, an intentional choice of that's not how we're building. It was oh, we don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
That's not what we're good at. Let's lean into what we're good at. It's why we never really did D2C ourselves too, even though it was the hottest thing in the world for a while, as you remember, and now is the least hot thing in the world. And I'm sure we'll get hot again. And we just were that's not, our skill set is we're going to be really, really good at two things. One, we're not going to compromise at all on product. Ingredients are going to be first class, taste and texture are going to be first class. We're really going to lean in there. And so once someone discovers us, we know that they buy it again and again and again. Even if maybe it takes them a little bit longer to discover us than some of these products that do such a good job on the community building front. And two, we're just going to be the best operators around. We're going to have amazing margins. We're going to provide a lot of value to our retailers. We're going to support those retailers with those margins. And we're going to do those two fundamentals better than anyone. And that's why it's going to work.
Does that mean you think that the retailers are more your customers than the end customer? And is that
they're both
fair?
Yeah, I mean, they're both really, at the end of the day, the customers.
Yeah.
I think the retailers have such rich data insights from everything that they look at and everything they have access to that they're the first line of defense and they're the first customer. And we went from 3 years ago, 4 years ago, emailing these retailers 10 times and hearing nothing back to now these retailers emailing us and saying, hey, we were looking at our reset plans. We think this is missing, either this flavor profile or this form factor. Is this something you guys would be interested in, working with us on?
Yeah.
And so they're sort of the first customer. Let's make sure they're happy because more times than not, they know what the end customer, really wants.
Yeah.
And So it's that first sell-in is half the battle, and then, you know, the most famous line that everyone uses in food and beverage is getting on the shelf is easy, getting consumers to pick it up and take it off the shelf is hard.
Yeah.
And the first part's not easy, but it's a lot easier to get someone to agree to bring the product in and convince a single person, hey, this product belongs on your shelf.
Yeah.
But then you can't hide from the data. Either people are buying the product and buying it again, and you're hitting the velocities that are needed to justify the space you're taking up, or you're not.
How do you think about, you talked a little bit about the pivot to focus on kids specifically, and how challenging, so one, would love to understand how that happened. And then two, how do you think about the parent who's buying the product and the kid who's eating the product,
the
dynamics at play there?
Right. And
it has to be a part of the calculus, right?
Yeah, because they have different priorities.
Yeah.
Those two groups, right? The kid wants something that's like fun and colorful and tastes good, and the parent wants it to be a healthy product. And so I think our not to plug our products, but I think it's a good example, is our collaboration with PAW Patrol at Walmart is the perfect example of this. So we have 2 SKUs of the product at 2,800 Walmarts nationwide that have the PAW Patrol characters on. Do you know PAW Patrol?
Come on, I have nieces.
Okay.
Just in the mix.
Just checking. I've become very familiar with all the characters. Like, I'm like, you know, I know their backgrounds, I know their likes and dislikes.
It's like superhero.
Yeah.
Dogs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
PAW Patrol.
Yeah, there you
Is
go.
that English, right? Yeah.
Pretty smart.
And so we collaborated with them to launch 2 flavors of Sweet Nothings Fruit Pops at Walmart and now at other retailers as well, with those characters on front of pack, knowing that the adult purchasing the product and the kid that ultimately needs to consume the product in order for the adult to buy it again have different priorities.
Yeah.
And so if you can wrap all of the organic, no added sugar, nutrient dense, you know, simple ingredient product that we make in this really fun cartoon that these kids are obsessed with, you're hitting priorities for both groups.
How much is it meant to you to work with your mom every day? And what was the hiring process like?
Yeah, it's now, I mean, it's so, now I realize how special it is. Like, now it's so cool, right?
What do you mean, it wasn't cool when you were hiring her?
No, I mean, I felt weird about hiring her, right? It was like, it's sort of an uncomfortable, you know, Nepo baby, Nepo mom. But it was during COVID. She wasn't working at the time.
Yeah.
We were growing a lot. We needed extra help. We didn't really have budget yet. So she's like, oh, I'll help out. She had worked in a similar, she had worked like for a chapstick and natural lotion company prior. So like worked with some of the same customers, sold to some of the same retailers. So sort of like understood the industry to some degree. And it was really, we had hired one person at that point. So it was Beth, me, and we had this guy, Gavin, who's been with us from the beginning. And my mom was mostly helping out Gavin with some of his work. And finally we had budget and we had enough growth. We were like, all right, we should hire someone for this job. And Gavin's like, can't we just hire your mom? And I was like, I wasn't going to suggest it, but like,
if Gavin's saying it.
Gavin says it, maybe it's a fun idea. And so now we like, you know, we have these our team's fully remote. So we have these team offsites, and she's the most popular person at the offsite. Everyone wants to sit next to her at dinner. Everyone laughs at her jokes. Like, I actually think in some ways it's made me see my mom in a totally different light, because I see her like as this, you know, competent professional instead of just my mom. The way others interact with her, the way others communicate with her at offsites. And I think it's also just like, right, in the early days, you want people who really care and are gonna give it their all and are willing to do anything. And, you know, one of our values is no job too small, and we'll really live that value. And like, no one lives that value like your mom, who's like willing to do anything to make your business work, you know?
Where along the road did the hard charging athlete who then worked in finance, then went to business school, where was like patience as a virtue? Where did that develop? Where did that come from?
I think sort of had to develop based on the industry. I still don't think of myself as a patient person. I don't think my family or friends or wife would.
Yeah, I call you patient. You're patient.
Yeah.
I would say thoughtful, not patient.
Okay. Yeah. I'll take it. That's a nice thing you've ever said to me.
Yeah.
And we have it on camera.
I'll save them for camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I keep coming back to this word, but it's like truly the only word that I like feel like is so important to building in CPG is humility of like, when I started, I was like, oh, you know, people say it takes 2 years to get the buyers at this retailer to even consider a meeting with you. And then it's going to take another 18 months before they would ever bring the product in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, maybe that's how it works for others, but like, that's not how it's going to work for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And I think you have to have that mindset to be a successful entrepreneur. Like, I don't have shame in having that mindset, but now I've had the humility to realize that's exactly what happened. Right. Like some of these lessons, it doesn't matter how many times someone tells you this is how it works.
Yeah.
You still have to experience it yourself to actually understand it. And so I think that's where a lot of the patience has been developed, is understanding that, you know, whether I work 40 hours in a week or 80 hours in a week, sure, there's some things that I can do more of and better of, and some weeks are tons of hours for me and for the team. But sometimes it's like, you need to give the consumer time to develop. You need to give the retailer time to see the data. You need to give your, you know, manufacturing partners time to work internally and figure out how to improve the process, improve the quality. And we have our hands in all those things, but we rely on so many external parties to succeed that you have to find that right balance always of, yes, being patient, but also, you know, being the squeaky wheel. And I think reading your partners and understanding, okay, who responds well to the squeaky wheel and who puts you at the back of the line when you're a squeaky wheel again. Like, should you send that extra email? Should you follow up? Do you want to text this person, right? Or should you wait another week and let them work through it? And I think developing that skill set is as important as developing the right product and the right team and the right brand.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.